आप अपना अपना रीनेम करेंगे। जैसे रेडमी देख रहा हूँ मैं, सर ने रीनेम नहीं किया, लाइव हो चुका है ये फेसबुक पर। तो फेसबुक पे तमाम जितने लोग देख रहे हैं दोस्तों, उन सभी का आपका दोस्त और होस्ट सुनील शर्मा स्वागत करता है। गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल। एंड जितने पार्टिसिपेट है तमाम हमारे जूम पर, उन सभी का मैं स्वागत करता हूं और उनको वार्म वेलकम करता हूं। गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल। और आज की इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का मैं आगाज करता हूं शुरुआत का, कि आज से ये हमारी जो आज की कॉन्फ्रेंस की शुरू हो रही है। और मैं आज का सब्जेक्ट बता दूं दोस्तों, आज का हमारा विषय है इनकम टैक्स, आयकर। आयकर बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण चीज होती है। और आयकर में हम आज बात करेंगे विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम। बड़ा चर्चा में आपने सुना होगा, लेकिन इस बारे में क्या है, विवाद क्या है और विश्वास क्या है, और ये स्कीम क्या है, किस तरह से डीप तक नॉलेज देने के लिए, इसको तकनीकी बताने के लिए हमारे की नोट स्पीकर हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं। सीए ऋषभ जैन बताएंगे इस बारे में। और हम इसको मॉडरेटिंग, इसको सपोर्ट करने के लिए इस लेक्चर को सीए विशाल गाला हमारे साथ मौजूद है, एडवाइजर है महासेवा के। तमाम लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट है, यदि पार्टिसिपेट हमेशा रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं, जैसे ही आपका प्रेजेंटेशन हो जाए अपने नंबर शेयर कर दें, तमाम जो हमारे मॉडरेटर हो या की नोट स्पीकर हो, ताकि मेल आईडी वगैरह, ताकि आपसे वो संपर्क कर सके जैसे ही आपका प्रेजेंटेशन हो जाए। रिक्वेस्ट है सभी लोगों से दोस्तों। और ये फेसबुक पे जितने लोग देख रहे हैं दोस्तों, आप भी फेसबुक पे चैट बॉक्स में लाइक करें, और आपके जो सवाल हो इस विशेष को लेकर, विवाद से विश्वास को लेकर, आप सवाल कर सकते हैं दोस्तों। और अब मैं शुरुआत में कुछ, जैसे ही हम हमेशा शुरुआत में, आज हमारी जो कॉन्फ्रेंस की शुरुआत है, इसमें हम शॉर्ट अपडेट रहते हैं। छोटी छोटी जो अपडेट है हमारे भारत देश में, को जो प्रभावित करती है बिजनेस कम्युनिटी को और अलग अलग फील्ड को, क्षेत्रों को, उन अपडेट को मैं आपको बता दूं, रूबरू करवा दूं। सत्र 2020 और 2021 में आत्मनिर्भर भारत के तहत टॉप 100, टॉप 100 विश्वविद्यालय, यूनिवर्सिटी यूजीसी की पूर्व अनुमति के बिना ही ऑनलाइन क्लास चलाएंगी। इस तरह की टॉप जो 100 यूनिवर्सिटी है, वो आत्मनिर्भर भारत के तहत यूजीसी की बिना अनुमति के ऑनलाइन क्लास चलाएगी। इस तरह का ये सर्कुलर है। महाराष्ट्र के स्कूली शिक्षा विभाग ने सभी स्कूलों को निर्देश दिया है कि 2020 और 2021 जो शिक्षा सत्र है, उसमें किसी तरह की फीस ना बढ़ाई जाए। इस तरह का कल जो मीटिंग हुआ। और आज शुक्रवार है, आज शुक्रवार जीएसटी काउंसिल की महत्वपूर्ण बैठक होगी, जिसमें टैक्स कलेक्शन बढ़ाने व मुआवजे की बात होगी। किस तरह से आम कारोबारियों को, आम लोगों को किस तरह से राहत दी जाए, इस मुआवजे की रूपरेखा पर विचार होगा। और इसमें वित्त मंत्री निर्मला सीतारमन की अगुवाई में यह मीटिंग वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग के जरिए होगी। दोस्तों ये एक अपडेट। और दूसरी अपडेट में बता दूं, एसबीआई के बाद यूनियन बैंक ने भी अपने लोन सस्ते कर दिए हैं। गुरुवार को, कल की बात करें, गुरुवार को डॉलर के मुकाबले रुपए के मूल्य में 20 पैसे की गिरावट आई है। देश के शहरों में अब वीकेंड में रहेगी बंदी। मतलब जो कोरोना को लेकर जो बंदी थी, अब लेकिन बहुत सारे जो शहर हैं देश के, उसमें वीकेंड पर सैटरडे संडे को भी बंदी रहेगी। कोरोना संक्रमण की सबसे तेज रफ्तार अब भारत में है। और कल या परसों की बात करें, एक दिन में स्पेन और ब्रिटेन को पीछे छोड़ा है भारत में। तो दोस्तों, कोरोना से जो तमाम लोग बाधित हैं भारत में, उन तमाम लोगों के लिए, और दुनिया भर में जो बाधित लोग हैं, पॉजिटिव हैं, तो परमपिता परमेश्वर से, भगवान से, उस खुदा से, उस वाहे गुरु से, उस यीशु मसीह से, अलमाइटी से हम प्रे करते हैं, प्रार्थना करते हैं, तमाम जितने लोग आज हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं हम लोग, कि जल्दी से जल्दी वो तमाम जो कोविड-19 के लोग हैं, वो जल्दी से रिकवर आए, अपने परिवार के साथ आए दोस्तों। और साथ ही मैं आपको बता दूं, आप सभी लोग, जितने लोग बचे हैं, जितने लोग सावधानियां बरत रहे हैं, कोरोना से रिलेटेड काफी सारी चीजें अवेयर हो गई है, तो ताकि आप सावधानी बरतो और कोरोना को बाहर जाके, जहाँ पे भी आपको संदिग्ध लगे, जो रेड जोन है, कंटेनमेंट है, वहां पर बिल्कुल नहीं जाए, तो ताकि आप बचे इससे। ज्यादा देख सकते हैं मुंबई में जिस तरह से छूट दी है, तो लोग बिल्कुल भीड़, और बसों में भीड़, और हर जगह भीड़ कर रहे हैं, तो वो एक खतरे का निशान है। हो सकता है कि बाद में वापिस हमारे जो मुख्यमंत्री, उनको रिवर्स रिटर्न लेना पड़े, इस तरह की संभावनाएं बन रही है। देखते हुए तो उन्होंने बोला, चेतावनी दी है कि यदि छूट दी उसका फायदा उठाएं, ना कि नाजायज भीड़ इकट्ठा करके वो करें, उसको फैलाएं, स्प्रेड करें। इसलिए उन्होंने बोला कि फिर से भी लॉकडाउन हो सकता है। इस तरह की चेतावनी दी तमाम लोगों को दोस्तों। और मैं आगे बढ़ते हुए तमाम लोगों का स्वागत करता हूं, जितने लोग जुड़े हुए, और हमारे स्पीकर का भी। आज के इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के विषय में यदि हम हमेशा हमारे जो उनको इनवाइट करूंगा मैं, यदि वो हैं अवेलेबल हैं। प्रभु
प्रभु
सर
सर
आए।
नहीं है, प्रभु सर नहीं है, आप अपना कैरी ऑन कीजिए।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, प्रभु सर नहीं है, लेकिन उनकी शुभकामनाएं, उनकी विशेष, उनकी जो स्पिरिट है वो हमारे साथ है। और हम ये जज्बा लेकर चल रहे हैं कि हम ये निरंतर दोस्तों काम करते रहेंगे। हमारे जो ऋषभ जैन है उनका स्वागत करता हूं मैं, विशाल गाला जी का स्वागत करता हूं, तमाम जो पार्टिसिपेट है दोस्तों उनका भी स्वागत करता हूं। और ये 2 लाइन के साथ करूंगा दोस्तों कि जो परेशानियां हैं तमाम बिजनेस में, अपनी अपनी परेशानियां तमाम लोगों की, आपकी हो सकती है, तमाम लोगों की हो सकती है, और जो फेसबुक पर लोग देख रहे हैं उन लोगों की हो सकती है। तो उन परेशानियों को किस तरह से आप सीखें, उसको परेशानी को अच्छा बनाकर, अमल में लाकर उनको कैसे फ्रेंडली बनाएं, इसकी लाइन है जुड़ी हुई दोस्तों। कि लिख कर लाया था कोरे कागज पर, लिख कर लाया था कोरे कागज पर परेशानियां, लिख कर लाया था कोरे कागज पर परेशानियां, लेकिन दोस्तों ने उसे पतंग बनाकर उड़ाना सिखा दिया, लेकिन दोस्तों ने उसे पतंग बनाकर उड़ाना सिखा दिया। तो दोस्तों हमारी उम्मीद है कि आज जो परेशानियां हैं बिजनेस में, तमाम चीजों में, वो परेशानियां आप उसको उड़ाना सीखें, उसको उसको परेशानियों को दूर कर कर उस पे उसका निराकरण करके आगे बढ़ना सीखे। क्योंकि आज का जो समय दोस्तों, कोविड-19 के बाद जो समय होगा, तमाम लोग बोल रहे हैं, तो उदय कोटक ने बोला, रतन टाटा ने बोला कि जो ये समय जो है ये सर्वाइव करने का समय, सकारात्मक, जैसे आपको कोविड-19 से लड़ना है तो आपका इम्यूनिटी सिस्टम बढ़ना चाहिए। इसी प्रकार यदि आपको बिजनेस या प्रोफेशनल तमाम लोग हो, तो आपको बकायदा इसमें सर्वाइव करने के लिए खर्चे कम करने हैं और संयम से काम करना और बड़ी ही सकारात्मक सोच से आगे बढ़ना है अपने बिजनेस में दोस्तों। तो ये लाइन के साथ मैं स्वागत करता हूँ सीए ऋषभ जैन, जो हमारे कीनोट स्पीकर हैं आज के, और इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का, इस लेक्चर को अच्छे से सुचारित रूप से संचालित हो, इसके लिए मैं इनवाइट करूंगा हमारे मॉडरेटर सीए विशाल गाला जी को, वो इसकी शुरुआत करें और हमारे जो ऋषभ जैन है इनके बारे में बताएं। सीए विशाल गाला, प्लीज वेलकम।
Thank you, Sunil ji. I welcome everyone in today's session, which is on Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. And today we have with us CA Rishabh Jain. CA Rishabh Jain is a practicing CA and a partner at Motilal and Associates. He has diverse experience in field of direct tax and audits. He has received certification of INDES and FAFD from ICAI. He has worked across multiple sectors in different roles over the period of time. And as with this introduction, I request CA Rishabh Jain to start with the presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So our session today is, as introduced, focused upon the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme that has been there. So in the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, this is just to give people an introduction. What we always do is, before finding out how a law is, we try to understand the intent of the law. So the intent of the law in this case is very clear, that they launched an indirect tax resolution scheme, which was Sabka Vishwas scheme that was launched last year. And it was found to be a very successful advent, where everyone could, pay a certain amount and get due of their very old and very heavy litigations that were pending. So उन्होंने यही सोचकर they have gotten something in direct taxes now, in income tax, and as the title suggests, they want to move from Vivad to Vishwas. So I will start with the presentation. It is a detailed scheme. We will try to cover as many things as possible, and for anything that is probably a more detailed explanation, we may take it offline and we may take our discussions over there. So good morning, everyone. Starting with the scheme, it is called Vivad Se Vishwas. These are the broad topics that we are planning to cover today, and we'll take through every topic as it comes. So as per the introduction, as I have already told you, that it was introduced by the Honorable Finance Minister in the budget that was given in the year 2020, 1st February 2020. Key highlights of her speech from the budget was that it is planning to reduce litigations in line with Sabka Vishwas scheme. Sabka Vishwas was an outstanding scheme that settled more than 1,89,000 cases. Currently, in various appellate forums, in various appeals, there are more than 4,83,000 cases that are pending. So this scheme is looking to target that and try to resolve it in an amicable manner. Under the proposed scheme, a taxpayer would be required to pay only the amount of disputed tax. So as you are all aware that there is a high amount of penalty and interest that gets accumulated over outstanding and disputed taxes over a period of time. Litigations generally take years to solve, and then the penalty and interest keeps on accumulating. So this is a point that they want to waive that interest and penalty, and they just want you to pay the disputed taxes. We will get into the detailed calculations later, and we'll determine what amount is payable by each person depending upon the cases that are there. The important point is that taxpayers in whose cases appeals are pending at any level, the word appeal is very important. So any appeal that is pending are people that can benefit from this scheme. The objectives, as I told you, it is the government wants to unlock a revenue of 9.23 lakh crores stuck in tax litigations. The government, unfortunately, has been having a very high fiscal deficit. So this is also targeted at addressing that and ensuring that not a very hefty amount is stuck in its receivables and litigations, and that can be liquidated easily. The CBDT in its press releases stated that the objectives, as I told you, are very simple. Reduce the pending income tax litigation, generate timely revenue for the government, benefit taxpayers for providing them peace of mind. As everyone knows, अगर किसी का भी income tax case pending होता है या कुछ भी होता है, तो लोगों को वो टेंशन रहता है. कभी भी नोटिस आता है तो भले ही पॉजिटिव नोटिस हो, जब तक पूरा पढ़े नहीं 2 बार, तब तक वो अश्योरेंस नहीं आता है कि ये केस क्लोज हो गया है या मेरे फेवर में है. So there is a high amount of stress also, especially on businessmen who wish to focus on their business and do not wish to get into litigations that much. And it saves a lot of time, because for every businessman to get down into litigations, to discuss with consultants, to then probably appear in front of respective authorities, it takes a very long time, it takes a lot of energy. So these are the basic objectives that this scheme is looking to address. Just taking you fast through a chronology, the bill was introduced in the parliament on 5th February 2020. As a normal bill is proposed, there were representations received. Accordingly, certain clauses of the bill had been proposed to be amended. Currently, the act has been passed in the parliament. So initially, before COVID, the last date of the scheme was 31st March 2020. And there was another date that was given through which you could pay 10% or applicable extra taxes, and you can get done through the scheme. But due to COVID, it was then pushed to 30th June 2020. And when the finance minister announced the package of 20 lakhs crore, one of the announcements was that this scheme will be further amended to 31st December 2020. So this is giving all the taxpayers, all the businessmen enough time to arrange for the funds and to analyze if the scheme is beneficial to them and take necessary steps accordingly. The most important part is the eligibility. So who at this moment is eligible for this scheme is something that is very important. So any appeal, writ petition, SLP, arbitration before any appellate authority which was filed on or before 31st Jan 2020 against disputed taxes. Any disputed taxes, it can be TDS, TCS, tax on enhancement notice, it can be interest, penalty, or fees, or any levy. So all of those lying in front of any appellate authority are things against which a businessman is eligible. The orders for which timing for appeal has not expired on 31st Jan 2020. So if you have received an order and your time for filing an appeal has not been finished by 31st Jan, you are then eligible to take the benefit of this scheme. cases pending before DRP, the dispute resolution panel, and cases where DRP has issued direction on or before 31st Jan, but order has not yet been passed. These are also cases where you can be eligible for taking the benefit of the scheme. Cases where the assessee has filed revision application under section 264 on or before 31st Jan 2020. We will read about this later also. So these are also eligible. And lastly, disputes where payment has already been made shall also be eligible. So this is also a point where we will come across later. This is the broad applicability and eligibility of this scheme. Now, there are certain cases that have been specifically excluded from this scheme. I want to take you through that. So such cases, if disputed tax in a year is more than rupees 5 crores, so any search case where a disputed tax amount is more than 5 crores is not eligible to be taken under this scheme. There are cases where prosecution has been initiated and under the Income Tax Act or under the IPC, those cases are also excluded, especially cases involving undisclosed foreign income or assets. These cases have also been specifically excluded. Proceedings pending before authority of advance ruling is excluded from these. Cases completed on the basis of information received from foreign jurisdictions, cases where person is notified under special codes or detained under conservation of foreign exchange and prevention of smuggling activities are excluded from this, and cases covered under various other laws such as the narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, unlawful activities, prevention of corruption. So basically any offense that the government considers to be a serious offense are cases where people are not given the leeway to settle the scheme on an amnesty basis, and they have been excluded by the government. And this is basically to enhance or help businessmen who have concerns or who have disputed amounts, but they're not very serious in nature. So these exclusions have been given for those purposes. Now, what is the benefit to the taxpayer? The most important thing before you consult any client or before you decide for any business is कि मेरा क्या भला होगा इसमें. So if you go for that, the benefits of this scheme is, as I've told you before, there is no requirement of payment of interest and penalty levied on the disputed taxes. You are aware there are many cases where the interest and penalty amount at times exceeds the actual disputed tax also. So those are cases that are completely excluded from, those are cases which will completely benefit because your interest and penalty has been waived off. When you have filed the declaration and when you have fulfilled conditions, all appeals, writ petitions, SLPs, arbitrations have to be withdrawn, both by the taxpayer and by the department. So we will read this up when we come across with the procedure of how to apply for the scheme. Another important point and a very important point for businessmen is that immunity will be granted from levy of interest, penalty, institution of any proceeding for prosecution for any offense under the Income Tax Act. So this is also giving you an amnesty against any prosecution that can be initiated against you with respect to the said cases and the said penalties. And this was something that was added after the bill was proposed, is that if there is a case where you have made an excess payment before filing the declaration, you will have refund issued to you without interest. So in cases where you have already filed the disputed tax, but you are still taking up in appeals or any appellate forum, in those cases, refund will be granted to you. However, that refund will be without any interest that is applicable. There were certain clarifications that the CBDT had provided. So I'll just rush you through these so that you are aware about what those clarifications are. So there may be cases where there are qualifying tax arrears and non-qualifying tax arrears. As we saw, if there is a case where there is an qualifying arrear and a non-qualifying arrear, such as undisclosed foreign income or asset. So the question is that eligible for Vivad Se Vishwas? So the CBDT has clarified that you cannot take any amount of dispute or any amount of appeal and you cannot bifurcate it into different parts. And that is why if any part of your dispute is a non-qualifying tax arrear, then you cannot settle the dispute under Vivad Se Vishwas. So that is why that will not be something that will be eligible. So those are also considerations that a businessman or a consultant has to keep in mind. Some more clarifications. How much time shall be available for paying taxes after filing a declaration? So the CBDT has clarified that you will get 15 days from the time that a declaration has been filed to pay these taxes. and where tax is determined by the designated authority is not acceptable. If a designated authority determines a certain amount of tax under this scheme, and for example, if that is not acceptable to you, can you file an appeal against this in probably ITAT, High Court or Supreme Court? The answer is expressly no. So विवाद से विश्वास पे भी और और चर्चा नहीं होगी. So that will be one thing that can be done. And once the declaration is filed, and for example, a businessman says that there are financial difficulties and I cannot make the payment. So will the declaration be null and void? CBDT has expressly clarified that yes, the the declaration will be null and void, and he will not be able to take the benefits of the scheme. So what is the procedure? The procedure is, to be very honest, they have very simplified it. It is not something where you have to put in a lot of time. You have to put in a lot of time to understand whether the scheme is beneficial to you, to calculate the cash flows that you have to, a businessman has to take out. So they have ensured that you will be spending time on those things and not procedurally in filing this. So the procedure is very simple. You log in through your e-filing portal, whichever assessee has wants to settle or avail the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. They have to log in through the e-filing portal. In that, you have to select the Vivad Se Vishwas tab. In that, you have to select prepare and submit DTVSV forms. There are two declarations. There is basically a declaration in form 1 and undertaking in form 2. So the assessee has to first go ahead and fill that form 1 and form 2. The designated authority on receipt of declaration shall issue a receipt and grant certificate electronically. So whoever the designated authority is, once they receive your form 1 and form 2, they will grant you a certificate electronically. On the basis of that certificate, you have to make the payment. So the details of payment made pursuant to certificate issued by designated authority shall be furnished along with the proof of withdrawal of appeal filed by the declarant to the designed authority in form 4. As we had read before, if we have any appeal, we have to withdraw the same. So because you cannot avail the amnesty scheme as well as have the appeal pending. So that withdrawal also has to be done. And then you have to file a declaration in form 4. And once you have filed the declaration in form 4, there will be an order that will be issued by the designated authority in respect of the payment of amount payable as per declaration, as per certificate granted in form 3. So अगर आप देखोगे form 3 में designated authority ने tax calculation के साथ आपको एक certificate दिया है, and अगर आपने वो certificate के हिसाब से payment किया है, if you have cleared all your taxes and if you have withdrawn your appeal, then they will issue a certificate in form 5. Form 1, form 2 and form 4 are forms that has to be filed by the assessee. These will be filed electronically and it will be filed by either DSC or EVC of the assessee. Form 4, this is an ideal scenario. You should ideally pay those taxes and file form 4 before 31st of December 2020 to avoid any additional payment of tax. So this is one of the reasons why because if you cross the date of 31st of December, there is an additional payment of tax that may be liable. So you have to keep a buffer of at least 15 to 20 days so that you can start the process in time. And ideally, you should file your form 4 and pay your taxes before the 31st of December. This is just a snapshot that we have taken of the form 1. So form 1 is the declaration to be filed by the assessee. Form 2 is the undertaking that is to be filed by the assessee. I have just attached a screenshot so that people know what it looks like. Form 3 is the certificate. So this is a certificate, as you can see, that will be given by the designated authority to the assessee. Form 4, as we had discussed, we have to give the details of the payment against the demand or the tax payable in form 3. So you have to fill out your basic details, and then you have to fill out your BSR code, date of deposit, challan number, etc. How we generally do it, and these will then be taken into account by them, and then they will issue you an order of full and final settlement, which will come in the form of form 5. So form 5 will be your final full and final settlement, and this will grant you the immunity and waiver from payment of interest and penalties as they will occur. So these are 5 simple procedures. Procedurally, they have not kept it very complex. So that is something that is done. Now, how do you compute these taxes? We have been talking about the amount that needs to be paid. The question is, how do you compute these taxes? So the computation is very simple. They have bifurcated it into three different parts. It can be a search case. It can be any case that is not a search case. And it can be a case where dispute relates only, the word only is important, to interest, penalty, or levy. So if you see, if it is a search case, if you have made the declaration by 31st of December 2020, you have to pay 125% of the disputed tax. So disputed tax will be the tax that has come as a demand that in the last order that you have received. So 125% of that will be disputed tax, and you have to pay that. If you have filed the declaration after 31st December 2020, so initially the government had specified 31st of March 2020 as the first date, and they had said that the scheme may be applicable for 3 more months and there will be a last date. Now, so far after the announcement of the finance minister, they have still not come across as a last date that has been given after the 31st of December 2020. It may probably be 1 month, it may probably be 3 months. That is something that is yet to be known. So that will be notified by the government in due time, but we can keep our endeavor to clear this before the 31st of December 2020. So in that case, you have to pay 125% of disputed tax. If you file the declaration after 31st of December 2020 and before the last date, it will be 135% of disputed tax. The important part over here is that your penalty and your interest will be waived off. So that is something that is very important. Now, in cases which are not search cases, what is the amount of dispute? I mean, what is the amount payable there? So, as I told you, the scheme is very simple. You have to pay 100% of disputed tax, whatever is the disputed tax, and your penalty and your interest will be waived off. If you do the same after 31st of December 2020, there is 10% additional. So, you will have to pay 110% of disputed tax in those cases. And the third case is where disputes relate only to interest, penalty, or levy. So as people who are consultants here know that not all cases involve only a dispute relating tax. There are some cases where the dispute relates only to the interest, only to penalty, or only to levies. So what is the tax payable there? So the amount payable will be 25% of disputed interest, penalty, or fee. So whichever is your total disputed interest, penalty, or fee, you will have to pay only 25% of that. Your balance 75% will be waived off. In a case where you file your declaration after 31st of December 2020, 30% of your disputed interest, penalty, or fee will be payable. Your balance 70% will be waived off. So this is an important slide for us to understand so that we classify our cases in the right manner. Even after this, there is a bit of a complex calculation that needs to be made, which I will explain in the due course to you. So, but this is how you have to first classify your case as: is it a search case? Is it something that is other than a search case? Or is it a case where only interest, penalty, or levy is a thing that has been disputed? So giving a bit of a clarity there, we will see it in the next table also, where we are discussing a calculation, is that in a case where an appeal or a writ petition or an SLP is filed by the income tax authority on any issue before the appellant forum, the amount payable shall be 1/2 of the amount. So in a case where a case has been taken to appeal by the department, that in that case your amount payable will only be 1/2, that is 50% of the amount. In a case where an appeal is filed before CITA or objections are filed before DRP by the appellant on any issue on which he has already got a decision in his favor from the ITAT. So coming again, if the appellant has received a decision in his favor from the ITAT, which is not subsequently reversed by the High Court or the Supreme Court, or not by the High Court, and which is not reversed by the Supreme Court, the amount payable on settlement of such issue shall be 50% of the amount payable as per the table. So there is a table that I will be also sharing across. So then these will be coming up. So what is important to understand is the intent of lawyer in a case where you have won it in your favor already and the department or respective appellate authority has gone into appeals, in those cases you have to pay only 50% of the amount as your tax. Further, in a case where the appellant has filed an appeal on any issue before the ITAT, on which he has already got a decision in his favor from the High Court, which is not subsequently reversed by the Supreme Court, the amount payable shall be 50% of the amount payable as per the table. So this is a bit of theory. Let me explain it in a practical incurrence to you how we calculate this. So if you just go through this, you will see, say for example, your total income as per the order is 100. Okay. Your disputed income is bifurcated into two parts, A and say part 1 and part 2. So part 1 is relating to issues which have been decided in favor of the assessee in his case for any assessment year, and it is not subsequently reversed by the higher authority. So what we were seeing on the last slide, we are doing it by the way of numbers here. So 60 is an income that is there, which is basically something that has not been reversed by a higher authority and which has been decided in the favor of the assessee. The other issues that are relating are in part B, and that is, for example, 40 rupees. All right. So taking a bit of a simple calculation here. So the disputed tax in relation to B1, which is favors that have been divided. So in that case, if I assume a basic 30% of tax for simplicity of calculation, the disputed tax is 18 rupees. And the disputed tax in relation to B2 is for 12 rupees, which is 30% of 40. All right. So as per the order, my total disputed tax is rupees 30, which is indirectly 30% of rupees 100. Right. Now the point is, when I have to use this calculation and when I have to determine the amount payable under the Vivad se Vishwas scheme, I have to first, if you see, and also we also have a disputed interest, penalty and fee, which is not decided in the favor of the assessee. So we will cover that scenario as well, where there is one amount of a disputed interest, penalty and fee, and that is say rupees 10. All right. So now the amount payable under this case, now let's take it for example a non-search case. So as I explained in the previous slide, if I have a case that has been decided in my favor, that case I have to pay only 50%. So if you see, I have to pay only 0.5, which is 50% of the disputed tax in C. So 18 का मुझे सिर्फ 50% भरना है. So I will be paying only 9 rupees or whatever 9 lakhs figure is there over there. In case of D, as we had seen, we have to pay 100% of disputed tax. In cases which have not been decided in the favor of the assessee, you have to pay 100% of disputed tax. So I will be paying over here 100% of the amount in D, which is 12. So I have already an amount of 9 lakhs, plus I have another amount of 12 lakhs, which is a total of 21 lakhs so far. As we had seen in the third scenario, where we were computing the disputed tax, you have to pay 25% of something that is your only interest, penalty or fee. Where I have a case which is only about interest, penalty or fee, in that case I have to pay 25. So that is 25% of 10, which is 2.5 lakhs. So I have to pay 9 lakhs plus 12 lakhs plus 2.5 lakhs, which then comes up to a total of 23.5 lakhs. This is a calculation that we need to understand. As I told you before, we have to spend more time in analyzing what is our outward liability, analyzing our cash flow. Then we have to actually apply for the scheme. So this is a case where I would suggest people to take a bit of a professional help rather than probably doing it themselves. When they take a professional help in this case, they will realize that they have to rationally take an option and not just blindly go for the scheme, thinking that all my interest and penalty will be waived off a year. So if we picked up the example of a non-search case, if you pick up the example of a search case, you have a higher amount of tax liability there, which is 125%. So that is why instead of 0.5, you are seeing 0.625, and instead of 100%, you're seeing 125, which is 1.25. So this is one calculation that we have to understand and we have to make. And I will repeat again, I will suggest people to take a professional help in this case, where you have to finally come out with an output of your cash outflows. So this is the working of disputed tax. If anyone has any doubts regarding this, I can explain it probably in the FAQs after, in the questions after the session, or I can probably then take it up on a one-on-one basis later on. I have already put down my number and my email ID, so participants can contact me there. Now I will take you ahead and I will take you through some FAQs that have been filed by that have been given by the CBDT in this case. So taking you through the FAQs, the first one: if there is no appeal pending but the case is pending in arbitration, will the taxpayer be eligible to apply under Vivad se Vishwas? If yes, what will be the disputed taxes? So the answer to that is, an assessee whose case is pending in arbitration is eligible to apply even if no appeal is pending. In such case, he should fill the relevant details applicable in the declaration form. The disputed tax would be the tax, including any surcharge and cess, on the disputed income with reference to which the arbitration has been filed. So the CBDT has clarified that in cases of arbitration also, that is something you can take a benefit of. The second one is, all appeal has been filed against the interest levied on assessed tax. However, there is no dispute against the amount of assessed tax. Can the assessee take the benefit of Vivad se Vishwas? So declarations covering disputed interest, where there is no dispute on tax corresponding to such interest, are eligible under Vivad se Vishwas. It also should be clarified that if there is a dispute on tax amount and a declaration is filed for the disputed tax, the full amount of interest levied or leviable related to the disputed tax shall be waived. So you have to see, if you are only filing a declaration against disputed interest, then you have to fall in those cases. However, if you are filing a declaration on the disputed tax, in that case the full amount of interest levied or leviable, that shall be waived, as we have seen in the before cases that we have. Is there any necessity that to qualify under the Vivad se Vishwas, the appellant should have tax demand in arrears as on date of filing declaration? They have clarified, saying that the Vivad se Vishwas can be availed by the appellant irrespective of whether tax arrears have been paid either partly or fully or are outstanding. So as I told you before, if you have paid any amount of taxes before, in that cases you will be eligible for a refund. So it is not necessary that you should have any tax amount outstanding. Even if you do not have any amount outstanding, you are still eligible to file under the Vivad se Vishwas scheme. Another clarification that is very important is, will delay in deposit of TDS, TCS also be covered under Vivad se Vishwas? So it was mentioned before, it has been clarified again, that the disputed tax includes tax related to TDS and TCS, which are disputed and pending in appeal. However, if there is no dispute related to TDS or TCS, and there is a delay in depositing such TDS or TCS, then dispute pending in appeal related to interest levied will be covered. So they have clarified in complete detail that if there is no dispute related to TDS or TCS and there is a delay in depositing TDS or TCS, then the dispute pending in appeal related to interest levied will be covered under Vivad se Vishwas. In a case, appeal or arbitration is pending on the specified date, but a rectification is also pending with the AO, which if accepted will reduce the total assessed income. Will the calculation of disputed tax be calculated on rectified total assessed income? So this is a very practical FAQ, is that when I have a case in appeal or arbitration that is pending on the specified date. So specified date is 31st of Jan 2020, which is the date to check our eligibility. So if there is a case that is pending in arbitration or in appeal on 31st of Jan, but there is a rectification that is also pending with the AO, which is accepted, which if accepted will reduce the total income. So will the reduced total assessed income be taken into account? So the CBDT has clarified that the rectification order passed by the AO may have an impact on determination of disputed tax if there is a reduction or increase in the income and tax liability of the assessee as a result of the rectification. So the disputed tax in such cases would be calculated after giving effect to the rectification order passed. So whenever there is a rectification order that is pending, so your final disputed tax calculation will depend upon the rectification order that has been passed. And they have clarified that there can be a reduction or increase in the tax liability. So then it will be taken upon how it has been done by the rectification order. I'll read through a bit because these 2-3 are not very difficult. So if taxes are paid after availing benefits of Vivad Se Vishwas and then later the taxpayer decides to take refund, would it be possible? So it has been clarified that no, any amount paid in pursuance of a declaration made under Vivad Se Vishwas shall not be refundable under any circumstances. So whatever is the amount that has been determined, that will be something that will be payable and no refund shall be eligible against that. Will there be immunity from prosecution? Yes, Section 6 provides for immunity from prosecution to a declarant in relation to the tax areas for which declaration is filed under Vivad Se Vishwas and whose an order has been passed by the DA that the amount payable has been paid. So whichever year, whichever things you are taking into consideration, for those years and for that amount of tax payable, you will be granted immunity under Section 6. A very important point are disputes relating to wealth tax, STT, commodity transaction tax, and equalization levy covered. So it has been clarified that only income tax dues or disputes have been covered. So other direct taxes such as wealth tax, STT, CTT, and equalization levy are not covered under the scheme. If a writ has been filed against a notice issued under Section 148 of the Act and no assessment order has been passed consequent to Section 148 notice, will such case be eligible to file declaration? It has been clarified that the assessee will not be eligible as there is no determination of income against the said notice. In a case where assessee settles TDS appeals or withdraws arbitration, as a deductor of TDS, will credit of such tax be allowed to the deductee? So to clarify, if there is a case where the assessee has settled a TDS appeal or he withdraws an arbitration, so the person who has taken a credit of such TDS, so will credit of such tax be allowed to the deductee? So in that case, it has been specified that the deductee shall be allowed to claim credit of taxes in respect of which the deductor has availed dispute resolution under Vivad Se Vishwas. However, the credit will be allowed as on the date of settlement of dispute by the deductor, and hence the interest as applicable to the deductee shall apply. So he can take a credit. However, the interest that will be applicable to the deductee will apply in these specific cases. Where order has been passed by DRP on or after 1st July 2012 and before 1st June 2016 and they have given relief to the assessee and department has filed an appeal, how should the assessed tax be calculated? It is written that if department appeal is required to be settled, then against that appeal the appellant is required to pay only 50% of the amount that is otherwise payable if it was his appeal. We have seen this in our calculations before and they have just specified it again that in such cases of the DRP also you have to pay only 50% of the amount. There is no provision for withdrawal of appeal writ SLP by the department on settlement of dispute. It has been clarified that on the intimation of payment to the DA by the appellant, the department shall withdraw such appeal. So whenever you have made the payment to the designated authority, the appellant, the department will withdraw any appeal writ or SLP that is there. This is something we've covered. Once declaration is filed under Vivad Se Vishwas and for financial difficulties, payment is not made, will the declaration be null and void? Yes, it would be null and void, and such declaration will not have any standing. Will the result of Vivad Se Vishwas be applied to same issues pending before the AO? So no, it has been clarified that only issues covered in the declaration are settled in dispute without any prejudice to the same issues pending in other cases. So whichever is a case that you have taken up in Vivad Se Vishwas, only those cases will be covered and you cannot apply that to other cases. The appellant has settled the dispute under Vivad Se Vishwas in an assessment year. Whether it is open for revenue to take a stand that the additions have been accepted by the appellant and hence he cannot dispute it in future assessment years. So this has been clarified and an explanation has also been issued that making a declaration shall not amount to conceding tax position and it shall not be lawful for any income tax authority or any part in appeal SLP to contend that the declarant, as the case may, has acquiesced in the decision of the disputed issue by settling the dispute. So in a common terminology, what we are meaning to say here इज अगर मेरा कोई एक पॉइंट पे केस पेंडिंग था जहां मैंने विवाद से विश्वास अवेल किया है एंड मैंने मेरी डिस्प्यूट सेटल कर दी है. So can the department on that point for different assessment years, can they say that he had admitted to his liability and वो बाकी assessment years में क्या उसका addition कर सकते हैं? So they have clarified that this is an amnesty scheme, and if you avail विवाद से विश्वास, it does not mean that you have accepted that your position was wrong, and that is why it will not impact any other assessment years. This is an important clarification because it gives confidence to the businessmen and it gives confidence to the taxpayers that you are settling the dispute for your and the government's convenience, and that does not amount to you accepting that it was your fault in the first place. Can the benefit of Vivad se Vishwas be availed if a search and seizure action is filed by the IT department has been initiated against a taxpayer? So there is a clarification here that case where the tax areas relate to an assessment made under 143.3 or 144 or 153A or 153C on the basis of a search initiated under 132 or 132A and of the act are excluded if the amount of disputed tax exceeds 5 crore rupees in that assessment year. So we have covered this before in our exclusions that if this amount of disputed tax exceeds rupees 5 crores for one assessment year, that year will be excluded. Now, if there are 7 assessments of an SSA, out of which 4 assessments of disputed, out of which in 4 assessments, disputed tax is 5 crores or less, and in remaining 3, it is more than 5 crores. So am I eligible to file for all 7? So it has been clarified that the declaration can be filed for only the 4 assessment years where your disputed tax is 5 crores or less. So in the 3 assessments in which your disputed tax is more than 5 crores, they will not be eligible, and that is why you will not be able to take the benefit of the Vivad se Vishwas scheme. If the assessment has been set aside for giving proper opportunity to an assessee on the additions carried out by the AO, can he avail the Vivad se Vishwas scheme with respect to such additions? It has been clarified that if an appellate authority has set aside an order to accept where assessment is cancelled with the direction that the assessment is to be framed to the file of the AO for giving proper opportunity or to carry out fresh examination, the assessee would be eligible to avail Vivad se Vishwas. So in a case where an opportunity has been given to the assessee for any additions, for hearing him out or to give a proper opportunity or carry out a fresh examination, in those cases also you will have the assessee who will be eligible to file under Vivad se Vishwas. The assessment order. So why I am running through these FAQs is by the way of FAQs, a lot of our doubts, a lot of our cases get clarified. So that is why we are running through the FAQs. These are FAQs that have been issued by the CBDT themselves. So these are things that can be taken up in dispute later on. And that is the reason why we've taken that up. In FAQs, the last one I think we have is the assessment order under section 143.3 was passed in a case of an assessee for the assessment year 2015-16. The said assessment is now pending with ITAT. Subsequently, another order under 147 or 143.3 was passed for the same assessment year, and that is pending with the CIT appeals. So could both or one of the orders be settled under Vivad se Vishwas? So for one specific year, you have an assessment order under 143.3, which is pending with the ITAT. There is another order under 147 or 143.3 for the same assessment year, which is pending with CIT appeals. So the department has clarified here that the appellant in this case has an option to settle either of the two appeals or both of the appeals of the same assessment year. So they have left the option on the assessee in this case, where it is up to him if he wants to settle. He has to file the correct declaration in form number 1, and the disputed tax in this case would be the aggregate in both appeals. So my disputed tax in this case will be the tax that is the total of the disputed tax in both these appeals. Now we are coming almost to the end of our presentation. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. I believe we can see our screen again, right?
Yes.
All right. So in this case, the most important part is to decide your cash flow, and you have to decide whether the scheme is beneficial to you or not. And I will take around 5 to 10 minutes on these points, because this is the more important decision making factor for any consultant to advise to their clients, for any practicing CA, or for any businessman himself. So the question is, what happens if you have opted for the scheme, or what happens if you have not opted for the scheme? So let's take the first scenario where you have opted for the scheme. If you have opted, then you have to obviously calculate the tax payable if all the grounds are decided against. So whichever is the percentage that has been prescribed. So when you have opted for the scheme, 100%, 125% as applicable is something that you have to consider as your tax payable while determining your cash flow. What is your positive in this case is that you have a complete waiver of interest and penalty. So whichever was your interest and penalty that was otherwise payable if you had not opted for the scheme is now waived off. However, as we had discussed before, you have to also let go any refund, any interest on the refund under section 244A for the excess tax that you had paid. So you will get the tax amount as a refund. However, you will not get any interest on that if you avail the scheme. So you have to keep that as your cash flow or your cash outlay or your tax outlay as one of what is the tax payable.
ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा है। ऋषभ ऑडियो कुछ डिस्टर्ब हुआ था। ऑडियो यस
नहीं, there was a network connection.
यस इंटरनेट कनेक्शन यस आप अपना वीडियो यदि इंटरनेट का प्रॉब्लम है तो वीडियो ऑफ करें।
नहीं आई थिंक वो थोड़ा लैग कभी-कभी हो जाता है।
Okay, go ahead.
In this case, the other important thing that I was explaining was if we do not opt for the scheme, तो बहुत ही सिंपल एक लैंग्वेज में जो जिसे हम बनिया बुद्धि कहते हैं, हम उसको देखते हैं कि अगर मैं ये स्कीम लेता हूं तो मेरा कितना पैसा जाने वाला है, अगर मैं नहीं लेता हूं तो मेरा कितना पैसा जाने वाला है। तो हमने ये देख लिया कि स्कीम अगर लूंगा तो मेरा कितना पैसा मुझे भरना पड़ेगा, और अगर स्कीम नहीं लेता हूं तो इन दिस केस मुझे क्या क्या भरना पड़ेगा इज समथिंग दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. सो व्हेन आई हैव टू कैलकुलेट दैट, आई हैव टू देन सी कि मुझे कौन से लगते हैं कि अगर मैंने अपील फाइल की है तो उसमें से कौन से ग्राउंड्स हैं जो मेरे फेवर में आ सकते हैं, जो मुझे लग रहा है मेरे फेवर में आएंगे, तो उस पे डिस्प्यूटेड अमाउंट पे और उस पे जो टैक्स अमाउंट रहेगा उस पे मुझे इंटरेस्ट पेनल्टी जो भी नहीं रहेगा वो मुझे नहीं भरना पड़ेगा. बट हाउएवर जो मुझे लगता है कि मेरे फेवर में नहीं आएंगे, आई हैव टू कंसिडर दैट एज अ टैक्स आउटफ्लो. Not only the disputed tax over there, I have to also keep in mind any interest under 234B, any interest under 222, and any penalty that is applicable. So these are also payments that I will have to make if the case is not decided in my favor for those respective grounds. Also, there is a very inherent cost in every litigation is the time that a businessman involves, the cost that he is paying to a consultant, to a tax consultant, to a chartered accountant, the amount of appeal fees that he has to file, the deposits that he has to submit. So all of those are also things that he has to consider in his cash flow. So those are additional payments and additional burdens that he has to consider. But in this case, also you have a benefit in cases where you have paid an excess amount, you will have an interest that will come to you. So in a case where I am thinking that there may be a certain amount that may be favorable and I may have a refund in that case. So in those cases, I will also have an interest under 244A that will be paid to me. So that will also be something that you have to consider. So humko ye case mein we have to make an analysis. If I am opting for the scheme or if I am not opting for the scheme, how do I calculate my cash flow in respective scenarios? So now coming to the end is how do you make an informed decision? So this is something I have already explained in our last slide, is you have to first consider the fact of what do you think are your chances of winning grounds of appeals when you go ahead. You have to seek a professional consultant over there. They will tell you what they think are your chances depending upon the facts of the cases and other decided cases in various courts. So you have to then evaluate your cost, your external and your internal cost. अगर आपको लगता है कि मेरा फॉर एग्जांपल आउटस्टैंडिंग अमाउंट 2 लाख या 3 लाख रुपए ही है, बट अगर मैं इसको आगे लेकर जाता हूं तो मुझे मेरे कंसल्टेंट्स को, मेरे लिटिगेशन कॉस्ट को बाय द वे ऑफ डिपॉजिट्स एक्सेट्रा, आई हैव टू पे अ अमाउंट दैट इज हायर देन 2 or 3 lakhs. So then in that case, going by a prudent mind, you would feel it is rather sensible to settle it under Vivad se Vishwas and not take that extra burden, not take the risk of this case not being decided in your favor, and also not incurring extra costs. There are also cases where you see where there are penalties that is there from years. मतलब समझो 96 97 का कोई केस है, so अगर वो केस है, so in that case the interest and the penalty that has now been accumulated is very high. So in those cases it is advisable, any long pending disputes, it is advisable that I have to then avail this scheme, and I have to rather settle my amount here so that I can have a complete waiver of my interest and penalty. And obviously cases where which is covered by which is covered by the verdict of an honorable Supreme Court in its own case. So in those cases, disputed tax shall be considered as nil in such cases, where a dispute is covered by the verdict of the Supreme Court, which is binding. Also, as shown on the last slide, based on our cash flow analysis and the probability of success, you have to decide if it appears to be beneficial or not beneficial. So this whole process of making the decision and deciding your which scheme is beneficial, whether opting in or opting out, so that is something that is some time that you as a businessman or you as a taxpayer should devote, and you should realize what is good. Should I take the benefit of complete waiver of interest, penalty and immunity and have a good night's sleep without worrying कि इसका कब नोटिस आएगा या इसकी कब डिमांड रेज होगी या मुझे इसके लिए कब डॉक्यूमेंट्स डालने पड़ेंगे. And you have to compare that in a case where you believe that there is a good chance of winning the case.
फिर से शायद डिस्कनेक्ट हुआ है ऑडियो, उनका इंटरनेट का प्रॉब्लम है. यस मिस्टर ऋषभ जैन.
Yes. We are now. Yes. Yeah. We are now done with our part. So if we have any questions that we can take, if we have enough time, or else if we do not have time, we can take those questions on an individual basis also. So Vishal can take it up from here.
ओके सर. ऋषभ, आप अपना शेयर स्क्रीन कर सकें, आपके जो मेल आईडी वगैरह चैट बॉक्स में तो शेयर कर दिया होगा आपने नंबर, और शेयर कर दें अपने डिटेल मेल आईडी वगैरह, नंबर्स वगैरह.
मैं कर देता हूं.
और यदि किसी पार्टिसिपेट को पीपीटी वगैरह की कुछ रिक्वायरमेंट्स हो तो आप मेल करें सीए ऋषभ जैन को, रिक्वेस्ट करें तो आपको वो भी अवेलेबल, या कुछ इस बारे में जानकारी चाहिए आपको विवाद से विश्वास के बारे में, तो भी आप ले सकते हैं. ये लाइव रिले हो रहा है, टेलीकास्ट हो रहा है फेसबुक पे. सीए रमेश प्रभु, एमएनएस टीवी और सुनील शर्मा और तमाम आप ये लिंक भी देख सकते हैं. लिंक में शेयर करूंगा थोड़े मिनटों बाद ही. सीए ऋषभ जैन, आपका प्रेजेंटेशन बहुत बढ़िया रहा. फेसबुक पे कुछ कमेंट्स आ रहे हैं ऋषभ, कुछ कमेंट्स फेसबुक पे है. राजीव सक्सेना और हरिराम चौधरी बोल रहे हैं बहुत ही इंफॉर्मेटिव और यूजफुल लेक्चर है. ऋषभ जी आपका धन्यवाद. आपको हम एक बिल्कुल 3-4 मिनट के लिए रिलैक्सेशन देंगे. एक छोटा सा हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन है फार्म टू होम का, उसके लिए मैं इनवाइट करूंगा. उसके बाद हम तमाम जो पार्टिसिपेट है उनके जो क्वेरीज है वो लेंगे. हमारे विशाल गाला और आपसे सवाल पूछेंगे, तो आप हमारे
बिल्कुल
मैं इनवाइट करूंगा अभी फार्म टू होम के लिए शीतल नाथू जी को. शीतल नाथू जी आए, बताएं कि फार्म टू होम किस तरह से काम कर रहा है और इसमें किस कहाँ से लोग जुड़ रहे हैं, महाराष्ट्र से और मुंबई से, पूना से, कहाँ से लोग जुड़ रहे हैं ये बताएं, और अपना जो भी फार्म टू होम इंडिया का डिटेल भी लोगों से शेयर करें ताकि लोग आपसे कनेक्ट हो सके। जी, वेलकम टू शीतल जी।
हाँ जी, मैं ऋषभ जी से रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगी कि आप स्क्रीन शेयर ऑफ कर दे, तो देन आई कैन आई कैन शेयर माय थिंग्स। सो थैंक यू सुनील जी। ये फार्म टू होम, ये संकल्पना इज अ वेरी इसेंशियल वन, कि हमारे लॉकडाउन के दौरान जो हमें कठिनाइयां फेस आई है, एंड वी हैव टू प्रोक्योर एंड बी सेफ एंड get protected by getting essential commodities through very verified vendors. तो हमारा farm to home online सेवा ने, which is a seva of Mahaseva, which is Maharashtra Society of Welfare Association, done by Ramesh Prabhu sir, initiated by him. तो ये हमारे लॉकडाउन के टाइम हमने शुरू किया था, but because our situation has not ended, we continue to give the same seva even now ahead. And in fact, we have improvised on the seva by giving ozonized fruits and vegetables. So now the ozonized, what it does is it disinfects the all our vegetables and the fruits entirely, and it is very safe for consumption. Ye farm to home gives you packed products, everything comes in a packed state, and it comes to your order state. जैसी भी आपकी ऑर्डर हो, तो उस ऑर्डर का ही आपको ये मिलता है, वही आपको ऑर्डर कर सकते हैं, एंड यू हैव टू पे ऑनलाइन। उससे भी सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेंटेन हो जाता है, एंड कंटामिनेशन के चांसेस आर एंटायरली रिड्यूस्ड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस। तो आपसे सबको ये रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप ये उपक्रम में बहुत अच्छी तरह हमें प्रतिसाद दें। फार्मर्स को भी मदद होगी, उनको भी जो पहले हमारा मिडिलमैन और चेन सिस्टम जो था, उसको हम कट करके वी आर डायरेक्टली प्रोवाइडिंग व्हाटएवर एडिशनल बेनिफिट्स आर टू द फार्मर्स। आपको भी बेनिफिट्स ऐसे आ रहे हैं कि द प्रोड्यूस इज मोर फ्रेशर, मोर सिक्योर एंड सेफर फॉर कंजम्पशन। ये आपको भी बेनिफिट है, थोड़े 2 पैसे का आपको भी बेनिफिट होगा, वैसे ही फायदा फार्मर्स को भी होगा। सो इट इज अ विन विन सिचुएशन। और अभी हम आपकी सिचुएशन में वी आर आल्सो कंसिडरिंग लेसर ऑर्डर्स, बट एवरी इंडिविजुअल ऑर्डर्स हैव टू बी अराउंड 350 एंड अबव। एवरी सोसाइटी के ऑर्डर्स हैव टू बी एटलीस्ट 10 नंबर ऑफ ऑर्डर्स, ताकि हम वहां पे सुविधा से आ सके, द इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफ स्केल हमारा बना रह सके। सो रिक्वेस्टिंग मेंबर्स ऑफ द सोसाइटी टू जस्ट गेट टुगेदर। 10 members is not much, 350 पर ऑर्डर इज ऑल्सो नॉट मच। सो आपको जो भी चाहिए वो आप इकट्ठा होके आप हमें ऑर्डर दे दे। सो ये आपको रिक्वेस्ट है। एक छोटा सा एवी है जहाँ पे क्लाइंट हैज गिवन a letter of appreciation, video of appreciation. So I'll share that. And दूसरा है हमने जब इनॉग्रेट किया तो सुभाष देसाई सर, ही इज एन इंडस्ट्रियल मिनिस्टर ऑफ महाराष्ट्र, तो उन्होंने भी कुछ प्रोत्साहन भरे 2 शब्द बोले थे। I'll share that video with you. So I hope I have the sharing rights. Sunil ji, can you give me the access?
Go ahead, madam. Go ahead.
जब कोविड-19 का लॉकडाउन अनाउंस हुआ था, तब किसी ने भी ये ना सोचा था कि इतना लंबा चलेगा। इतनी परेशानियां सबको उठानी पड़ी, और हर रोज की जो आपकी जरूरत है, जैसे फल है या सब्जी है, ये मिलना भी बहुत दुश्वार हो गया था। बस इसी समय फार्म टू होम एक संस्था के साथ हमारी पहचान हुई, जो डायरेक्टली किसानों से उनकी उपज लेकर, जो ऑर्गेनिक है, जो जैविक है, जो प्राकृतिक और नेचुरल है, उसको उन्होंने बिल्कुल रीजनेबल प्राइस में आप तक पहुंचाया। तो इन लॉकडाउन के समय की जो मुश्किलात हैं, ये फार्म टू होम कर दिया। तो उनके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
देसाई साहेब. हो.
आपण हा जो उपक्रम घेतलेला आहे
येस सर.
त्यामुळे वी आर बिल्डिंग मिसिंग लिंक बिटवीन द फार्मर्स अँड कन्झ्युमर्स.
ओके.
आता जे एपीएमसी आहे की कृषी उत्पन्न बाजार समिती,
करेक्ट.
ती सुरू होण्यासाठी खूप प्रयत्न झालेले आहेत आणि चालू पण आहे.
हो.
तरी सुद्धा त्यांना काही अडचणी येतात आणि
Yes, sir.
त्याच्यामुळे काही वेळा माणसं मिळणं किंवा इतर काही अडचणीमुळे 100% कृषी उत्पन्न बाजार समितीतून सेवा मिळायला थोडासा वेळ लागतोय.
हो.
परंतु आपण ह्या ज्या गोष्टी आता करतायत की शेतकऱ्याचा त्यांनी उत्पादन केलेला माल, मग त्याच्यात भाजीपाला, फळफळावळ, इतर शेतमाल हा
सुनील जी, शीतल मैडम.
हाँ जी, yeah, because of an incoming call I got lost. मैं stop कर रही हूँ so that you can go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. So
आप अपने नंबर शेयर कर दें.
that's right. मैं चैट में आपका हमारा नंबर शेयर कर देती हूँ और आप हमें मोटिवेट करें बाय जॉइनिंग अस. थैंक यू सो मच.
थैंक यू शीतल नातू जी. ये थी फार्म टू होम जो संकल्पना है और किस तरह से वेजिटेबल फ्रूट्स वगैरह किसानों के बनाए हुए प्रोड्यूस किए गए वेजिटेबल फ्रूट्स वगैरह कैसे हाउसिंग सोसाइटी के गेट पर पहुंचे, ये एक संकल्पना. दोस्तों मैं आपको कल का प्रोग्राम बताऊं उसके पहले आपको बता दूं स्टॉल प्रोजेक्ट जो बहुत बड़ा मसला है जो हम बात करेंगे जो महारेरा के मुंबई महाराष्ट्र में जो महारेरा के स्टॉल प्रोजेक्ट हैं उस पे कैसे उसको बाहर निकाल के लेके आए, इस पर एक बड़ी अच्छी डिबेट है और ये ऑल इंडिया लेवल पर डिबेट होगी. दोस्तों बिल्डर एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया, रेरा इंडिया और महासेवा तीनों मिलकर कर रहे हैं. कल 10 बजे से 12 बजे तक इस सब्जेक्ट पर हमारा वेबिनार होगा. आपको बता दूं बिल्डर एसोसिएशन के मोहिंदर रिजवानी रहेंगे, अमित कुमार केडिया जी जयपुर से रहेंगे, रेरा इंडिया के हैं, और सीए रमेश प्रभु महासेवा के. दोस्तों इस सब्जेक्ट पर हम बात करेंगे कल.
सुनील जी, मैं ब्रोशर शेयर कर रहा हूँ, आप वन बाय वन बोले, एक ही सेकंड में ब्रोशर शेयर.
बिल्कुल. तो आप ये नोट कर ले, स्क्रीन आप शेयर कर रहे हैं तो वो आप इनविटेशन ही मानिए सब लोग, और कल आप जरूर जुड़िए. हम कल बात करेंगे. दोस्तों सब्जेक्ट हमारा है एचडीआईएल. आपने नाम सुना होगा एचडीआईएल, जो काफी अभी नाम चल रहा है पिछले 4-6 महीने से देखेंगे तो एचडीआईएल के जो तमाम प्रोजेक्ट है, रियल एस्टेट की कंपनी है, तमाम जो प्रोजेक्ट स्टॉल्स है उस पर किस तरह से सॉल्यूशन ढूंढ सकते हैं, इस पर हमारा कल चर्चा होगी. तमाम जो स्टॉल प्रोजेक्ट है उस पर किस तरह से स्टॉल प्रोजेक्ट पर हम बात करेंगे. और कल 10 बजे आप ध्यान रखिए, 10 बजे से 12 बजे है कल सैटरडे, और इस पे हमारे चीफ गेस्ट रहेंगे श्री बलविंदर कुमार जी हैं जो यूपी रेरा जो अथॉरिटी है यूपी रेरा के मेंबर हैं, और इसमें हमारे गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर रहेंगे डीआर हरदरे साहब हैं. डीआर हरदरे चीफ इंजीनियर रह चुके हैं महाडा में और चीफ टेक्निकल एडवाइजर है महारेरा. गौतम चटर्जी साहब के नजदीकी और टेक्निकल हेड है महारेरा के, वो रहेंगे. साथ ही जो पैनलिस्ट हमारे स्पीकर है उनमें स्नेहल कामदार हैं, ये एनसीएलटी के बड़े एक्सपर्ट माने जाते हैं. स्नेहल कामदार वो रहेंगे, और सीए निपुण सिंघवी ये रहेंगे पैनलिस्ट में अहमदाबाद से, और मिस्टर महेश तलरेजा ये इंजीनियर रह चुके हैं एसआरए में ऑलरेडी और प्रोजेक्ट कंसल्टेंट है. महेश तलरेजा वो एक्सपर्ट है, तो ये पैनलिस्ट रहेंगे स्पीकर दोस्तों. और जो एसोसिएशन के लोग रहेंगे हरीश, डॉक्टर हरीश मंगतानी, श्री निशांत जी हैं, और काफी सारे लोग अलग अलग जो एसोसिएशन है हाउसिंग सोसाइटी के, जहां जहां इफेक्ट करता है एचडीआईएल या फिर अलग अलग जो बिल्डर्स हैं उनको. और ऑर्गेनाइजर 3 ऑर्गेनाइजर हैं इस कल की इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के. बिल्डर एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया के मोहिंदर रिजवानी, और रेरा इंडिया जो है संस्था है एजुकेशनल और रिसोर्सेज संस्था है रेरा की, और वो सीए अमित कुमार केडिया जी रहेंगे, और महासेवा से सीए रमेश प्रभु जी रहेंगे. ये मॉडरेटर भी रहेंगे कल के. आप बिल्कुल आईडी पासवर्ड दिया जा रहा है, आईडी पासवर्ड आपके जूम मीटिंग का कल का, आप जरूर कनेक्ट होइए दोस्तों. और ये कल की इंफॉर्मेशन थी दोस्तों. और रेरा और तमाम जो स्टॉल प्रोजेक्ट है एचडीआईएल के दोस्तों, कल इस विषय पे बात करेंगे और कोशिश करेंगे कि जो लोग जो हाउसिंग सोसाइटी के जो जिनके स्टॉल प्रोजेक्ट हैं एचडीएल के, वो कैसे बाहर निकले और कैसे जो निकल चुके वो कैसे निकले, तो दोनों बात करेंगे। और अब मैं इनवाइट करूंगा हमारे जो आज के मॉडरेटर हैं विशाल गाला जी को, कि अभी जो तमाम हमारे जो सब्जेक्ट विवाद से विश्वास तक की जो स्कीम से उसके बारे में हमारे जो कीनोट स्पीकर ने बताया, उस पर कितने लोगों के सवाल हैं, हमारे जो पार्टिसिपेट हुए वो सवाल जो जो हाईलाइट्स किए अपने आप सवाल लें। विशाल गाला जी, प्लीज वेलकम।
जी थैंक यू सुनील जी। सो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है अशोक शर्मा जी का, कैन डिक्लेरेशन बी फाइल्ड आफ्टर 31st December 20? Is there any announcement or notification regarding same?
Vishal ji, I just skipped a part of it. Can you?
Hello.
Yeah. Can you come again? Hello.
मैं क्वेश्चन रिपीट करता हूँ। Can declaration be filed after 31st December 20? Is there any announcement or notification regarding same?
So they have not yet clarified. I had included this part in the presentation that generally when it was announced on 31st of March and then it was delayed to 30th June, they had said that there will be a last date after 30th June also. But however, they have not specified the last date so far. So I think probably in some time we will come to know, because we have a good 5.5 months at hand. So I think in the next 1 month or something, there will be a proper clarification that will come out. And we are expecting a last date after 31st of December also, but we shall wait for the clarification how it comes.
Okay. One question from Uma Madhyokar. Appeal is in IT-80 and the case was remanded to AO for verification of claim. Will SSC be entitled to apply under this scheme?
Yes, so I read that in the chat box. So I'll request her to reach out to me individually. I will have to understand a bit of the specifics of the case before commenting if it will be allowed or not. So what I will do is I will share my details on the screen now, so she can reach out to me, and we can discuss.
And if she can unmute and she can ask the question now only.
No, so I will need a bit of details, so that will take a bit of time. So I have just shared my details on the screen, so she can reach out to me on my contact number, and then we can take it up.
Okay. One more question. What if someone makes a false declaration or violate any scheme? Then what will be the consequences?
So if he makes a declaration and then that declaration is not found to be proper by the designated authority, he will not issue the Form 3 and Form 5 first of all, and see if he has used a malified intent and he has probably said things that were incorrect or made claims that were incorrect, and if that later comes, then there can be this application that can be null and void, which can be done, but that again will depend on the cases, will depend on what they have said or what they have shared in such cases.
Okay.
But if there is any problem in details or if something is not tenable, then the designated authority will not issue the Form 3 or the Form 5 in the first place.
Okay. One more question. Multiple appeals for same assessment here, where assessment has been framed for an assessment year and then reassessment is done for same assessment year, and both assessment and reassessment are in appeal. So can the SSC go for the scheme?
Yes, so he can go for that. We had covered this one point in our FAQs also. So I do not remember the participant who has asked this question, but if he can message me, I'll direct him to the exact FAQ that is answering this. So if we go through the FAQ, this has been specifically addressed.
Okay. Sunil ji, we have got all the questions. Now, if any participants want to ask, he can unmute and he can ask the question directly.
Yes. विशाल जी धन्यवाद। मैं अब मौका दूंगा हमारे जो पार्टिसिपेट हैं उनमें से एडवोकेट योगेश बंसल जी हमारे साथ हमेशा जुड़े रहते हैं। योगेश बंसल जी आपका कुछ सवाल हो हमारे जो कीनोट स्पीकर हैं ये इस सब्जेक्ट को लेकर, इसी सब्जेक्ट को लेकर विवाद से विश्वास तक, तो आप पूछ सकते हैं। एडवोकेट योगेश बंसल जी अपना ऑडियो।
हेलो,
बोलिए बोलिए योगेश जी।
नमस्कार सर। थैंक्स फॉर सेमिनार्स। सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है, मैंने अभी अटेंड किया है क्वेश्चन आंसर सीरीज में। मेरे टैक्स है 2008 का रिफंड, टैक्स रिफंड है जो उस टाइम पे ऑनलाइन नहीं होता था, लेकिन अभी वो भरा हुआ है, लेकिन उसका टैक्स रिफंड अभी तक नहीं मिला है।
अच्छा,
तो वो कैसे हम लोग उसको मतलब ले सकते हैं हम लोग?
ये हमको थोड़ा स्पेसिफिकली केस बेसिस पे देखना पड़ेगा, बट अगर आप अभी आपके लॉगिन में जाके देखेंगे तो आपका जो करंट स्टेटस दिखा रहा है उसका, अगर उन्होंने कोई आउटस्टैंडिंग,
उस टाइम पे स्टेटस नहीं था, उस टाइम पे
नहीं,
सिर्फ
अभी-
मैनुअल होता था 2008 के टाइम पे।
बिल्कुल, बट वो काफी कुछ चीजें उन्होंने अभी अगर आप देखेंगे तो उन्होंने ऑन द सिस्टम भी अपडेट की है। तो अगर हमको उधर कुछ दिखा रहा है तो हम उधर एक बार देख सकते हैं, अगर उधर नहीं दिखा रहा है तो चांसेस है अगर उनने कोई